Okay, well, welcome to the TELUS STORYHIVE On Location, Nanaimo. We're coming to you live from the territories of the Nanaimo peoples. Big bow, deep respect, deep love for the original caretakers of these lands. My name is Jordan Dack, songwriter, poet, entrepreneur, and host of this wild ride into the creative process. Welcome to Creative or Die. I am blessed and grateful to be sitting here with a local legend, Mr. Sirreal. And I know a lot about this guy, and you're going to know a whole lot about him too at the end of this hour. Maybe you already do. But for those that don't know,
what's up?
Let them know.
What's up, everybody? My name's Sirreal. I am a humble artist. I'm basically a messenger, just a channel to create art that makes people feel less alone. And I'm very blessed to be able to do what I do and have been doing it for about 18, 19 years now. And I'm always just amazed and blessed for the fact that I still get to do this and have fans and have people that support me after all these years. I've had a pretty crazy upbringing. Those of you that listen to my music, you know what I'm talking about. My story's all there, really. And just the fact that I get to turn those humble beginnings into something that is still amazes me every single day and still keeps me motivated to keep doing more and do things like this with my man here. And I'm just blessed. What can I say? I'm blessed to get to wake up every day and live the life that I always dreamed of when I was young, and that's to be a performer, to be on stage, to affect other people, to have people say that my music changes their perspective on life or makes them feel normal with what they're going through, and really just like tapping into the fact that my fans are really my family, because I don't have any family left physically besides my son. So for me, like, my fans are really the people that hold me down and keep me going and keep me motivated. Honestly, like, as any artist has thought, an overthinking artist and a perfectionist, I've thought about quitting a few times, you know what I mean? Or like, am I doing this for too long, or should I still be doing this? And then, when I tap in with my fans, they always let me know, like, no, we really love what you're doing. Please keep going, because, we need it just as much as you. So
yeah. Okay, so on the topic of evolution, bring us back. Okay, so bring us back to that moment, maybe just a bit before that moment when you went from, I assume, loving hip hop and listening to hip hop to feeling like you need to become hip hop and become part of that movement.
That's a good question, man. You're good at this. There's a reason you'd be doing this. So for me, like, hip hop was always something that I listened to. I'm not the most coordinated person, so I try to play many instruments, and it wasn't meant to be for me. I'm still trying to learn guitar, but I was always writing since I was a little kid, since I was like 3, 4 years old. As soon as I could pick up a pen and write in a journal, I was always writing, always crafting sentences, words, poems, things like that. And like, even as a young person, I was in a lot of therapy for, the trauma that I went through, and part of my therapy was writing. And getting it off my chest. So it was always there as part of like my expression.
So you were writing before you wrote a rap.
I was writing before I was riding a bike, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I have rhyme books from when I'm real young, that are like filled with just random items and like small drawings and stuff like that. It became like this form of expression, this form of therapy for me. That's why I always say, like, when I started this, it was a selfish thing, but it became a selfless thing. Because when I started, it was for me. It was for me to get this stuff off my chest, to get it out of my brain, to process it properly. And it became this thing where, I met up with a couple of friends before work. They showed me one of their songs, and I was like, yo, who is this? This is dope. And they were like, yo, that's me. And I was like, yo, how much did it cost you to make this? He's like, I made this at my house this morning. And I was like, yo. So then I went to his house the next morning at like 7 a.m. Like, shout out to my boy Jesse. And we made a couple of songs, made 2 or 3 songs, and they were absolute trash. Like, absolute, like, stolen beats, you know what I mean? Like, Exhibit Paparazzi was probably the first beat I rapped over. And we burned them to a CD. And so I would take that home and just listen to it over and over again. And then I would show it to my brother, rest in peace, Nick. And he, unbeknownst to me, you know, ripped that CD and made a bunch more copies
No.
and was handing them out to people. And I didn't know. And I was just making more music, you know what I mean? And it was kind of just a hobby. It was more of a release to me. And then I went to a house party one day and I'm like grooving, you know, having a drink or whatever. And I hear myself rapping and I'm like, what, like, where did you get this? Like, yo, your brother's been handing these out all over the neighborhood, bro. Like he you know, he loves your music. And I was just like, oh my God, I got so mad at him because I was like, yo, this is so bad. Like, why would you give this out to people? And at the same time, like, I was kind of like intrigued by the fact that he thought that I was good.
Yeah.
And so he always used to tell me like, one day you're going to be one of the best. And I believe in this. And I think that you need to do this. And so he passed away. He took his life. And I had no money, man. I come from a really poor family, like welfare, you know, like things like that. I won't get into it too much because most people watching this probably know my story, but I didn't have the money for his funeral, to be honest. You know, I was broke. So I put on hip hop shows in Nanaimo, 3 back-to-back hip hop shows. Shout out my boy John Z. And we raised $8,000 for his funeral by putting on shows with this music that I considered to be terrible. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Not that hip hop was terrible, but I figured my music was terrible.
Right.
You know, and as a creative perfectionist, I still feel that way sometimes. But like, so I put on these shows, and the people came through. They supported, and I remember the moment. A gentleman with like, you know, a reflective vest, painted pants, Carhartts, and steel toe boots on came up, and he dropped like $100 in the donation thing. And I was just like, bruh, like, why would you do that? Like, you're clearly not here to listen to hip hop music. And he's like, no, man, I actually came in for some wings and a beer, but I see somebody who's in pain and he needs the support of his community, and I'm here to support that. And so instantly I was just like, I was blown away. Like I could come to tears right now just thinking about it. But I was like, first of all, I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing whatever I can do to help people, because that dude didn't have to do that. And, you know, I was not always the best kid growing up because of my environment, my experience. I was doing crime and all that kind of stuff. And in that exact moment, I was like, nah, I got to do whatever I can to like change other people's lives the way that guy just kind of did for me. And then after the funeral happened and we were able to pay for it, and I was able to like put my brother in the ground in a good way, I was like, man, if he really believed in me the way that he did, I need to start believing in myself the way that he did, especially given the fact that this music thing that I was, you know, kind of just having a hobby with just paid for my brother's funeral.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I really need to start taking it seriously. So after that, I was just like, I was all in. Yeah.
It sounds like your brother is as much a part of your music career as anything else. Like he's part of the fabric of it.
100%, man. I can feel the hair on my back of my neck standing up right now. He's watching this. Like, yeah. He definitely inspired me to keep going. Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Made me sweat a little bit just thinking about it, because I know he's sitting up there laughing. Yeah. Respect.
Okay, and how about the writing side of things? So there you are, you were writing prolifically right from the beginning. It turned into rap. You threw your voice down on some exhibit instrumentals, and then now it's at a house party. You're listening to it, and then through your brother's influence, you decide, okay, I'm taking this on. I'm taking it seriously. And what's next? What happens next?
There was a period of time, like right after my brother passed away, like there was a serious like bout of depression that came with it, and like a fork in the road for me, because I came from addictions. I came from alcoholism. I came from like a really crazy experience. So it was like this point where I could have been like, I'm just going to go full into this addiction thing and say, forget about it. You know what I mean? My dad's gone. My brother's gone. My mom's in addictions. I should just kind of go that way too. But then I leaned into like, okay, I should probably do better. I should probably break some cycles here. I should probably, have a son And my girlfriend at the time, who ended up becoming my wife, actually, I remember I was laying in bed depressed, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I can't. I'm kind of done with everything. And she said, you know what? Like, no offense, but like, stop being a baby. Like, your brother wouldn't want this for you. Go and buy yourself an instrumental. I'll pay for it. Write a song, and then let me know how you feel after that. And I remember that exactly. It was a Requiem for a Dream instrumental sample. It's called One Man Show. It's from my first album, Self-Centered. And I bought that beat and I recorded the song, and it just changed everything for me. It was just like, man, get your ass up. Like stop wallowing in this. Like, this is not what your family members would have wanted you to do. This is not what your destiny is. So like, it was produced by a crazy New York producer named Domingo, produced some of the best records ever. And I was supposed to do a show, like one of my, fifth or sixth show. And two of the artists that were supposed to rap with me ended up not being able to make the show. So really I had like no material to perform at the show. So I worked at like a convenience store at the time. So I wrote my first album, 16 songs in 7 days. I just went to work and just was like, you know what, buckle down, focus, and just wrote 16 songs in 7 days, and that's what became Self-Centered. And when that album came out, by that time my son was born. I had a reason to like really put work in. I had a reason to like still be here. I had a reason to like manifest my own destiny and start like really embracing the creative process. My son was barely old enough to walk, but still jiving to the music I was playing for him. And it was just like, yeah, it just became this thing where I became obsessed with creating. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
You had every reason, the world gave you a ton of reasons not to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music and your community and your love pulled you out, and here you are. Like
100%. Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, it was just like, it was this thing where it was a magical moment of clarity, because like I said, I could have went down the same path that everyone else did, or a lot of my friends did. A lot of my friends from that era are, not here anymore or in jail or whatever. But I decided to just keep going. And shout out to Courtney, my ex-wife, who really just wouldn't let me wallow in it. She was like, there's more to you than this.
Yeah.
So like, get up.
Get up right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Jeez. You wrote 16 songs in 7 days?
7 days.
Is that normal for you? Like,
I
do you
mean,
write a lot?
not these days, but I mean, I have 9 albums, so I've got 2 more in the works right now, 10 and 11. I've contemplated many times.
Wait a second. You have 2 albums in the work at the same time? Like,
yeah.
So what does that look like?
It looks like a lot of writing, a lot of collaboration, a lot of like trying to set aside time to really work on it, and just exploring things, because like I said, I've always tried to like level up every time, right? So I've done a lot of stuff like with local artists. I've put a lot of other local artists on. So one of the new albums that's coming out is called Canadian Fire. And I wanted to really collaborate with all the best hip hop artists in Canada. So I've got like Mercules on it, Junk's on it, Hungry's on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on a couple of their features I can't really talk about right now, but I also go to a lot of music festivals. So I'm also working on an electronic album. So electronic music with hip hop over it.
Yes.
And just like really embracing the fact that if you're at a music festival, a lot of people like to hear hip hop to break up the electronic music, but they still want that flavor in there. They still want something to be able to dance to.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm working with some of the best producers as far as EDM goes in Canada.
Okay.
Matt the Alien, Long Walk Short Dog, Kaitami, Killborn. So like a lot of the people that I've grown to respect throughout the electronic music community, I just reached out to them, and so I'm working on that too.
In terms of your son, I would definitely want to spend a minute talking about your son. Did you ever have that time when, like, you've always written very honest music?
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment when you were like, oh, I can't write about this anymore because he's going to be listening? Or,
So yeah, if you listen to my first album, there's a lot of like very raw, like a lot of swear words, a lot of like vulnerable stuff that he was really young at the time, so
Yeah.
I could get away with it, you know.
Totally.
And then when I heard him in the backseat of my car starting to repeat some of my lyrics,
Yeah.
and that kind of dawned on me a little bit, and I was like, you know, I don't got a full go Will Smith with it,
Yeah.
but I should probably at least think about what I'm putting out there.
Yeah, be thoughtful.
And that did influence my music for a long time, like being like, I don't know how rugged and real I could be with this, but I can still be real in a way without giving the full vulgar truth, just like kind of skimming on the surface. So yeah, I'd hear him in the backseat singing my lyrics, and I'd be like, what did you just say?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
jeez, yeah.
And then one time I remember he was in elementary school, and he's like, Dad, I brought your CD to school, and there's only one song on this whole album I can play for the class. Like all the rest, why do you have so many swear words in your songs? And I was just like, you know, a well-placed F-bomb sometimes is really good, but at the same time, like I got to think about that. And I really got to start to think about who's listening.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I think it's taken so long to generate a bigger fan base, because when people rap with vulgar lyrics and things that your parents don't want you to hear, that's when they become popular, because the kids want to hear that, right?
That's right.
So that's when I kind of got pigeonholed into like making like a little bit nicer music.
Yeah.
But it was fine for me because I knew he was listening, and I knew. And the funniest thing now is I asked him what his favorite album of mine was, and it's my first album.
No way.
He's like, Dad, you were so rugged and raw on that album. Like it's so good. And I'm like, yeah, but you can say F words now, so it's like different.
That's right.
So it makes more sense that you would like that. And he's like, yeah, your newer stuff is kind of like a bit softer. And I'm just like, yo, that's you, bro. Like
That's your impact on
that's your
me.
impact on me. And now he's like making music, dropping stuff that I would
Right.
have when I first started. So it's kind of like, it's funny. It's come full circle. So now, you know, my next album is going to be just nothing but cuss words.
That's right. Yeah. You're going back to the grit.
I'm going back to the hardcore. You know what I mean? No, but for real, like there's some songs he's never even heard, because I won't listen. I won't let him listen to them, because they're real stories about experiences that I went through that he doesn't even need to hear. Like I don't want to traumatize him with that stuff, and you know, it's in the vault.
Yeah.
So one day maybe I'll show him. But yeah, I could talk about my son for days, man. He's making his own music now.
Yeah.
I had him on stage with me when he was 8 years old, you know, rapping with me, and he's in the studio with Rob the Viking from Swollen Members at 8 years old. And he's working on his new album, his own album right now.
When's it gonna come out, do you think?
He wants to drop it by graduation.
Okay.
So he's got like 3 months.
Okay.
He just dropped his first single, C'est La Vie, featuring yours truly.
Yeah.
He just filmed his own video for it. Very creative video. This video is going to be so crazy.
Okay.
Shout out to Sophie, his girl that's helping him with that. But yeah, he's just like, he's so far ahead of where I was at his age. And I'm just so proud of him. And I make sure to let him know to keep him humble. You know, I was like, listen, like, you are afforded a lot of things that I wasn't at your age. You've gotten to go into a professional recording studio. You have a studio in your house.
Yeah.
You have a dad that can get you shows, make you posters, help you with videos, like do all this stuff, get you beats, get you producers. Like I didn't have any of this when I was your age, so please take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like don't sleep on this, because this is your chance. Buy me a house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Don't sleep,
I'm like,
son.
yo, I am not living in an old folks home, bro. I'm gonna need a wing on the side of the house with a pool.
Exactly.
You know what
So,
I mean? So
on that note, how can people find him? His music.
so his name has always been lowercase g, because that's my little gangster. But he recently wanted to change his name as he's growing up to Low KG. So LOWK capital G.
Okay.
So it's Low G now.
Yeah, Low G.
Low G. That still sounds like lowercase g. So capital LOWKG on Instagram or on Spotify.
Okay.
And you can find his newest song called C'est La Vie. It just dropped, and he's got a bunch more coming, man. I'm really excited for his album to drop. I've actually been putting my stuff to the side to help him with his stuff right now.
Okay.
Because I think it's more important, you know, to get his out. He wants to have it done by graduation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've already got a few albums out. So
Yeah.
I don't mind like really shifting focus to what he's doing
That's
to make
beautiful.
sure that he is getting all the shine. And I've been trying to help him with promoting and pushing that. So
Yeah.
Shout out my boy. Love you, Benny.
All right. Well, I think it's time. I mean, I've got like 50 other questions to ask you.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll do this all over again, but also, you know, I'm sitting here with Sirreal the rapper, and as everyone knows in the hip hop world, that if you're an MC, you know, if someone calls you out and says, "Hey, you need to drop a rhyme right now," if you're an MC, you got to step in there and do exactly that. So this is that time, Sirreal. Do you have something you want to share with us, or
Well, what do you want? You want acapella? You want freestyle? I can do it. I can do whatever.
yeah, I mean, we've got a speaker here if you want. Throw a
Sure.
beat on. Or...
You gonna spit?
Well, I thought maybe you could share
Just see?
first, and then maybe
right.
I'll ask for some freestyle advice.
All right.
after.
So okay, you're gonna give me a couple words. So your name is Remy. Remy, that's your rap name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Give me a couple more words.
Creative.
Creative. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got. Hey. Hey. Yo. Shout out Remy. You know I like the Henny. We were just talking about my son Benny. Off the top, we at Best Western. Yeah. Yeah. I'm dressed in all blue, I'm so cool when I roll through, yeah. Reppin' in the house of the natives, it's so creative. It was creative or die. Yes, my suit's blue, just like my eyes, yeah.
Hey.
H on the hat, that the household, yeah. You know, I never fold. Rolex on the wrist, legit up on the arm. Yeah, you know I've been doing this since the farm. It's SIRREAL. Everybody come with me back to HE double hockey stick. Yo, you know me, I'm freestyle dropping this. Spit it out, I live it every minute that I'm in it. Middle fingers to the critics, see them just at the finish, yeah. And I'm quick to pop eyes like I eat my spinach. They like to think they're gifted. I'm here to show you different. Through a nuclear missile headed for top position. Steady leaving the opposition, no pot to pissin'. I spit it different depending on what I'm spliffing. Give me the Dutch and I'm lifting. Give me a pen and I'm gifted, son. Yes, Remy, we got plenty of pennies, yeah. I do this with no envy, no judgment. Yeah, kicking back, I'm just busted. Combustion off the top, yo, it's so exquisite. Yeah, I pimp the ride like exhibit. They be like, what is it? I got them all jumping like rip it. No critics, yo, I'm only hearing crickets in the background. Yeah, I got the fat rap sounds laying back down like they all back down to Nanaimo. I got them fine dimo. You know how we do it? It's just so fluent. The music's in the vein, though. Yeah, I got that Kurt Cobain flow. Off the top, yeah, blow like a tornado. On my face, redder than tomato. I do whatever the mouth and the drum and the tongues, they say so. Need the pesos and them ducats. Yeah, put all the money up in the bucket like I'm in Las Vegas. Yeah, up on the strip, on that Fremont. Yeah, I spit so hot, it's like lava. Yo, I spit this after. Spit it from my mama and my dada in the chapter. Shout out to my brother Nick. Yeah, you know Sirreal's always really ill when he spits. Let's get it.
Okay. That was so sick. I had no idea, my friend. I had no. That was way better than all right.
A little rusty. A little rusty.
Done. Okay, so let's talk about freestyle.
All right.
Because for me, the times that I have been part of freestyle, anything improvisational, it feels like you're letting go to something, and the greater degree that you let go, the greater the freestyle will be.
Yep.
And you have to trust and trust and trust. Tell me about what the experience is for you.
So me and my boy Revron always talk about this. It's like falling off a building and just grabbing words out of the air and just hoping, you know, that everything works out. So we used to do a thing called Cyphomatic, where a bunch of us MCs, shout out to Cyphomatic, Teen Wolf, Curtis C, everybody, Jinx and everybody. we would just get all these rappers together and we'd put on beats and we would just freestyle in a circle all night long.
Yeah.
And so like you really sharpen your sword if you keep doing it, right? But my whole thing has always been like with freestyle, it's a lot different than my writing because I'll think of a punchline and then I'll think of 3 lines that go ahead of it. Right. So I'll think of the punchline, right?
Yeah.
So I think of the punchline and I'll go, okay, now I got a line that rhymes with that. Now this next line's got to rhyme with that. Now this next line's got to rhyme with that. And then there's the punchline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about that while words are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. So it's like free falling.
Yeah.
And grabbing branches like on the way down.
Like...
Yeah. So it's just like, we good and plenty. We were just talking about Benny. Yeah, I like to drink Henny. My boy Remy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you knew where you were getting
my
to.
thing is Remy. That's what I'm going with. But I know I like to drink Henny. I know we were talking about Benny. I know I got rhymes of plenty.
Okay. You heard that. This is such a good tip.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually taking note of this because this is something that I don't do.
Yeah.
And that is great because I think I freestyle how you describe your writing.
One line at a time.
One line at a time. Yeah. And every time I'm done that line, I don't know where I'm going to be next, you know.
So that's the thing about freestyle is if you can write 3 lines in advance, you become an amazing freestyler.
Yeah.
Because when you hit that punchline, you can think of your next 4th line. Right? And once you hit that punchline, you can set up your next punchline with those 3 lines. So for me, it's like, it's really like sharpening your sword. It's like shing, shing. It's like really like learning how to let go, but also be in control. So if you can think of like 2 really dope punchlines, then all you need to do is separate those by 6 bars and think of 6 bars that rhyme with those.
You know, this sounds insane to anyone who hasn't
of course.
been in freestyle.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And
the problem with freestyling a line at a time is you can get caught up in words that you just repeat.
Yes.
Like you never know. So you'll hear a lot of freestylers just fall back on the same thing that they say over and over again when they get trapped. Right? So or effing.
You're talking about me, man.
Right?
Yeah. Like you got these safe little places you can get to.
Yeah.
And you just bring back in as soon as you stumble. But then people who are actually listening, they're like, well, I've heard that like 5 times.
Not only that, you can tell when somebody's stumbling. I can always tell. Like my favorite freestyler of all time is Junk. He's from Canada. Okay. Best freestyler in Canada, hands down. Prevail, another really, really crazy freestyler. Like they'll just put on a beat and freestyle about everybody in the crowd. Yeah. And so when I go camping, I freestyle about everybody around the campsite. I'll ask people during the day what their names are. And I'll remember every person's name.
Nice.
And then I'll say their name and what they're wearing.
Nice.
And at the end of the night, they're all going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, how did he possibly do that? But I've been building that all day. You know, they're not thinking that I'm like asking their name so that I can think of different rhymes to say with it later. Okay. Right? So it's like, it's an art form in itself.
Now, what do you think? You've got your writing life, you've got freestyle, expression. Has your freestyle, it sounds like they're 2 very different processes, but has the freestyle influenced how you write in a way?
Yeah, I think it helps. Just even as an MC, if you're a young MC out there, any advice I would have for you is freestyle. Yeah. Don't be afraid to freestyle. Don't be afraid to take on those different aspects of hip hop. This is the culture, right? Like you could be a graph writer, you could be a breakdancer, you could be a DJ. You could be an MC, but to me, and this might just be my opinion is to be an actual MC, you have to be able to throw down right now. If I say freestyle with me, I'm putting on a beat. Bro, I hope you can freestyle, because if not, we gonna shred each other. Like I'm gonna shred you. So a full, complete MC, in my opinion, is someone that can freestyle. Yeah. So if you're having trouble writing songs, freestyle to a beat. Then you might come up with a piece of that. That's something you go, oh, that was dope. Yeah. And take that and write it down. And now you can write your whole song based on that and go with that cadence and flow. And, you know, because sometimes I'll just put on these beats and freestyle in my car to them. Yeah. And I'll be like, yo, that bar was ill. Yeah. So I'll write down that bar and then that becomes a song. So make sure you guys follow me on Sirreal.ca. That is my website. Sirreal Music Official on every platform if you guys want to find me. It's pretty easy to find me. Follow me on TikTok, Sirreal Music Official. Come join our community. It's all love. I appreciate y'all for real. And thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. This has been part of the TELUS Storyhive On Location Nanaimo.
Shout out to TELUS.
Shout out to TELUS. Shout out to House of Owl. Check out houseofowl.com. You can find these videos and all the others in this series at HAUS of owl.com. Victoria's co-working space for creatives.